That's the logo of the studio that made the film, I think.
Oh, that's you work there a lot, don't you?
No, you do.
No, you do. Yeah. Brian's last middle name is Fox.
I'm Brian Helgeland. I'm lucky enough to be here with Dick Donner.
And I'm the Dick Donner he's talking about. I just saw Harvey Bernhard and Mace Neufeld's name on there. Guess hits me in the stomach. Harvey was great.
That's a nice graphic, the little boy casting the...
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's really clever. Simple.
You know, interesting, when Fox first came up with the marketing for this, they made it as nothing more than what do you call it? An axe murder kind of film? What do you call those?
Slasher.
Slasher film. And we had terrible arguments. Stuart Baird, great editor, great director, great person. Jerry Goldsmith, Academy Award on
We
this
missed
picture.
Gilbert Taylor. Was that the DP?
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
He is the best. Hey,
Dick
my
Donner.
favorite director, excluding Brian. Well, there it is, Gregory Peck.
I always thought the thing that grounded the whole movie was that Gregory Peck was the star of it.
Totally.
Because he's such a respected, kind of solid guy that when he believes that something's going on, everyone's going to believe it.
Yeah, and and we were fortunate to get him. He had a tragedy in his life at that moment, loss of his son, and he just wanted to go to work.
Right.
And we came along, but when he read the script, he liked it, but his questions were such that my answers turned into what we made the picture, which was, this is not a reality. You can't believe your wife was taken by a jackal and that your son is an antichrist. But it was that these were all just terrible mass coincidence in one family's life. Like, how many times you gone home at night and says, the worst day of my life?
Right.
This was the worst 3 or 4 days of his life, to the point where he was driven insane that he would take a knife to a child.
Right, right.
So we didn't believe these things.
Right.
But we believed we were victims of circumstance.
Right.
What can I tell her? What?
He's a great actor, too. Patrick, and
I like his work.
this is in the hall of Shepperton Studios,
Right.
downstairs. Great cameraman, great DP. What's his name?
Gilbert
Taylor.
Taylor, yeah.
Thanks. Good to have you around.
I think he shot Star Wars, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
I kind of arranged that. The interesting, this picture had been turned down by everybody, every studio in town, and we pitched it. I met Alan Ladd, and who was head of Fox, and I.
Dick, if I could interrupt you one
Yeah,
time, because
when-
I think this shot is a great great shot. It tells the whole story with the reflections and start with the mouths and pull back
and changing the focus from one to the other, so the
Yeah.
energy.
It's almost, when you cut out of it into the coverage, it's almost a shock.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I should look at this picture.
But you were saying about Alan Ladd and
Oh yeah, but so Laddie said, what are you going to do with it? He said, if you got to eliminate a lot of the obvious. I said, that's what I want to do, because it had devil gods and coven hoofs, and it was totally demonic. Whereas we just wanted to make it a mystery suspense thriller, and this man was driven insane by the mistake that he made.
right.
And Laddie bought it after every studio in town turned it down, and I owe him everything for this.
There are no relatives. None.
How did it end up in your hands?
An agent named Ed Rosen called me on a Friday, and he said, listen, Warner Brothers has this strip called The Antichrist. It's going to turn around on Monday. And he said, I really think it's something you should read. He sent it over. I was going to dinner by chance that night with Alan Ladd.
Right.
At an actor's house. Ian McShane, who has now become the great Ian McShane, who was on that Western TV.
Oh, on the
HBO.
Deadwood.
Yeah, Deadwood.
Yeah.
And curse word every 4 seconds.
Right.
But he's a great actor. Anyway, we were going to dinner at Ian's house, and I read this, and I couldn't put it down. I was half hour late. And I said, Laddie, you're head of the studio, but you got to read this. He said, well, give it to me. So I gave it to him. His wife, that weekend they went up to visit their child in camp, and Laddie drove. His wife, Patty, at that time, read it, said, Laddie, you got to read this. She drove coming home Sunday. He called me Sunday night and said, what do you want to do? I told him, and he told me what he thought, and we had a deal. So I called the two producers, Mace Neufeld. Actually, I called Harvey Bernhard, who remembered me. I said, we met. I said, you have a picture at Warner's. It's about to be, look at this wonderful woman.
Yeah.
It's about to be turned down Monday from, he said, I know. I said, well, I just sold it to Fox. He said, what do you mean? I told him. So this is my favorite little square in Rome.
Right.
This is a beautiful spot.
Yeah, with the fountain.
Yeah, Piazza dei Fanuti. And so they went in to see Laddie Monday morning, and Mace Neufeld goes to Laddie. He said, well, I'm glad. We'd love to make the picture, and here's the director we'd like to use. Laddie said, no, you don't understand. He said, Donna brought it to me. If he doesn't direct it, we don't make it.
Right.
So,
That's
good old Laddie.
I like the previous scene where he makes the deal to take the baby to replace the baby his wife lost.
The mistake of his life.
Because it's in a way he's made a deal with the devil, whether he knows it or not.
Yes. Now, there are those that can look at this film in the religious overtones of the Bible and of Book of Revelations and say he made a deal with the devil. There are those that can look at this and say, because of his love for his wife and the fear that she couldn't handle the death of her child, he did it to save his wife.
Right.
And now, as we continue through the film, there are those two viewpoints you can carry all the way through.
I think the film says doing something wrong to achieve a good end is not a good idea. Not the message of the movie, but it's part of it.
Yeah, as a writer, I think you probably stumbled on something.
See, I like to, if I can throw that in there in a meeting, I sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, look at these shots. I mean, this was
yeah.
Those days, a little bit forced. This was a home just outside London. It was the Guinness estate, which was abandoned, and we took it over. Look at this place. And they lived all over a couple of six-packs.
I've already told them yes. I loved it the minute I saw it.
How many days did you shoot in Rome?
In Rome, we shot probably 3 or 4 days. And then we shot in Israel.
Right.
The end piece with David Morse. And the architectural dig, that was another 3 or 4 days.
Right.
And with Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, shooting in London, Italy, and Israel, and we still brought this picture in at $2 million, $2,025,000.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that wouldn't even be... You'd have to pay the screenwriter that much these days.
Can't get a screenwriter of your caliber for that. Look at that, how beautiful.
Yeah.
Gil Taylor actually took me down a very interesting plane on this movie because when he decided to do it, he had been in retirement, milking cows. He said, no, I don't want to do it, but I did send him the script. And he called me and he said, this is an interesting script. Can I meet with you? And he did. So he came into town and he said, I'd love to shoot this in 235, which is like Panavision, wide.
Right.
I said, but it's a 2-people picture. He said, I can make it intimate. I said, well, I don't know. So the following day, Saturday, he showed up at my house again with an Aeroflex, one lens, and it had been matted for 235. And we went out for the day.
Right.
And shot with this Aeroflex. Look at that beautiful home.
Yeah.
Look at the lighting in there. Look at that lighting.
Well, right there's a good example of widescreen telling a story of 2 people.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But also intimate. And he then got into close-ups and where he filled the empty frame or he forced perspective, and I fell in love with it. And I've tried to shoot everything 235 since.
Yeah. There's actually some very nice close-ups of people coming in the background out of focus. It really makes it tense.
Yeah.
It won't be long.
Well,
We don't have that much to talk about.
Look at this. Well, you think we did enough? We can go home now?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
But he did Star Wars after this?
Yeah, so after this, George Lucas, this movie gave Laddie the money for Star Wars to keep going.
Right.
Laddie tells that story, which was a great stroke because we didn't think this was going to be a good little film, but it turned out to be a phenomenal film for the studio,
Right.
financially, and so it gave Laddie the money to give to Star Wars to finish up properly. Good moment. Here's the sign of the child.
You know, this is the difference between a man and a woman right here. The man immediately looks to see where he's drowning, and the woman's looking for where he's lost in the woods.
Well, that's me. That's interesting. There he is, a little.
But the dad assumes the worst, and she assumes he's out in the trees somewhere.
That's interesting. Your life too?
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Well, learn something. I was really in a really good place before you interrupted me, and now I don't know where I was.
Star Wars.
That's a good name for a movie. I think it'll work. Anyway, so they called me and said, "We saw your picture. How was Gil Taylor?" I said, "He was great." So they hired him.
Right.
And dear sweet Gil would call me after about it. He said, "Why, these crazy kids, this future stuff." He said, "It's never going to work."
Right.
Little did he know he had photographed the most successful film in the history of the business, just about.
Right.
And this girl, a young girl on the right, that's the nanny.
Right.
That was, who did the one-arm push-up in the Academy Award?
Jack Palance.
Jack Palance's daughter, Holly.
Oh, yeah.
And David Warner, of course, from Morgan. Did you ever see Morgan?
I didn't, no.
Oh, that's a picture you got to see.
Yeah.
Got to see.
Yeah.
He was a genius in it.
Yeah, he's so good.
And those two guys in the uniforms there, they're the two Canadians that lived in London and convinced everybody they could play American.
Right.
That every call came out of a garage or
They
something.
could play American and they could ride horses.
Yeah. Yeah. Said it now. Yeah. You know, I haven't seen this picture in a long time.
Yeah. The kid's great. He's got such a great eyes, a little boy.
He was a little East Ender.
Oh, was he?
Never acted. We'd seen every kid in town, and then we decided just to bring school kids in, so we'd bring classes in.
Right.
And this little guy was interesting. His hair was blonde. I dyed it dark so that his eyes would stand out.
Right.
Ooh. That's spooky. We set Rottweilers back,
Yeah.
10 generations. In reality, they weren't fighting. They were trying to make love in all the scenes.
Right.
Have you noticed he doesn't talk very much because he talks like a little East End
Right.
child rather than the son of an ambassador.
Which is nice, though, is he's almost mute in the film, except for when he's shouting.
Totally.
Yeah.
The niceness was really because otherwise I would have had to loop him practically,
Right.
to get that sound properly.
Right.
He was a tough kid. I said, Harvey, his name was Harvey also. When I was testing him, I said, I want to see, can you fight? Because there's this wonderful scene in the car when they asked him to go to church for the first time, and oh boy, it's all for you.
This is a great shock.
Oh.
Great shock. And
We were just lucky we had a camera rolling. I never thought she'd fall off that. Poor thing.
Yeah.
She had a great future as an actress, too. It was very tragic. But things like that happen.
As long as it's in focus, it's worth it.
It is spooky.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's nice seeing the edges of the world he's entered, the little kid, in all the wealth of the family. And it's not ostentatiously played, but when you see what kind of birthday party they're throwing for him, where they've brought in an amusement park and all that, it's a nice way to get across
That it's a Beverly Hills child.
Yeah, the kind of wealth that he's going to come
Inherit,
into if the parents are gone.
Not only is it the wealth, but it's the power and prestige as father being an ambassador.
Yeah. You've typecast.
This is the producer about to cross the street in the right to left, if I remember right.
Right.
In a sport jacket that's embarrassing, but I love him as a person, so it doesn't matter. Oh, it's left to right. There he goes.
Right.
There goes Harvey Bernhardt.
And that's the U.S. Embassy in London.
Which now you can't get close to.
Yeah, which has got concrete retaining walls all over the front of it. And
yeah, no wonder.
Did you shoot? It looks like you shot in there. Did you shoot in there?
Yeah, we did. On a Sunday, the ambassador was very nice, allowed us to use his office.
Yeah.
which I guess has been changed now because it was a perfect point of assassination,
Right.
seen from every
Right.
corner of other buildings.
Right.
But everybody was unbelievably cooperative.
Not that I know of.
Did Gregory Peck have to occasionally go to dinner with a few people to get some things done, or?
No, he was very quiet. He
Yeah.
stayed by himself. His was wonderful wife was with him, and although we had we had all these instances that would happen,
Right.
and if you were doing a comedy, you wouldn't even think about them.
Right.
You would think about only the funny things that happen. But
Right.
in this one, lightning hit David Seltzer's plane coming over the Ryder. Lightning hit
Right.
Peck's plane coming over. Everything happened at odd times. Gregory Peck used to eat in a little restaurant on Mount Street, which was right around the corner from his hotel, every night.
Right.
And one night they didn't because he wasn't feeling well, and that night the IRA machine gunned the restaurant from the street,
Right.
killing 2 people.
Right.
And there was the famous Baker Street standoff. Those 2 RA were chased by police that were nearby, and they were held up for a week. But the point is, it's all these instances that said,
Forces kind
now
of.
that's his office right there.
Right.
And there's a guy supposed to be American.
Right. No American would have sideburns like
Patrick starts with a T. Wonderful actor.
that. I was like when this guy says the first line upon meeting someone when it's, "We don't have much time."
We haven't much time.
You
How
better
do
pay.
you, how do you remember this?
I watched it this morning.
Oh, you rat. Did you really? Thanks a lot. That's why your kids were late for school. Huh?
But when someone walks in and you've never seen him before, and he says we haven't much time, it's a great start to a scene. But I see that's not a good place to be sitting if you're an ambassador. Right
Yeah.
there.
Here's a split diopter shot.
Right. Right.
For only if he is within you can you defeat the son of the devil.
I see.
He's killed once. He'll kill again. He'll kill until everything that's yours is his.
Father, would you
Only
mind
through
waiting?
Christ can you fight him. Accept the Lord Jesus. Drink his blood.
So Brian saw this movie this morning. This is totally unfair. I think we should stop and let me give a chance to see this and then go back and do it. I was saying, the guy really idolizes me.
I do, but I still had to see it. I still had to see it.
Oh, okay.
Was born.
I like how calm Gregory, how he plays it. He really plays it well. Even
Until he closes the door.
yeah, he might have a
haven't-
psychopath in the room,
Yeah.
and he's just sitting there wondering. And
He's a great actor.
yeah,
He underplays everything.
yeah, and that voice of his is
Yeah. He was a pleasure. Totally. We locked horns once.
right.
Really locked horns. But he bent in the end by saying, "You're the director. You're wrong, but you're the director." And
Right.
he apologized at Daly's the next day.
Right.
I'll tell you the scene when we get there.
All right.
The music. This is Jerry Goldsmith's Academy Award.
Yeah.
Music.
It's he comes in underneath it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Sneaks in.
Yeah.
This is blackmail, then come out and say it. What is it that you're trying to say?
And again, it's that he's got a secret. Gregory Peck's got a secret.
That's right. And he knows it.
So when this guy shows up, he's not listening to really what he has to say because his mind is jumping to you're going to reveal the truth about what I did and my son, and is it blackmail?
And it's all the Catholic Church because that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Here, right now. That's where it all happened.
It's subtle, but it's he's committed. If you just call it a sin,
Did I make the mistake of a lifetime?
right?
Have I destroyed our lives?
Right.
Do I tell my wife?
And
What
your
do I do?
your instinct is to try to protect what you did and keep it quiet, so you can't think ahead to what the guy's really trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Did you use real Marines? 'Cause I
In
saw
what
there's a-
respect? No, they were all over in Iraq.
Yeah,
There's nobody left in this country.
they had left already.
Oh, they had anticipation. Mr. Bush wanted these people over there well before we got there. I say Mr. Bush out of total disrespect. If you're going to use it, fine.
But
If
that's
you're
not a
you're
you don't
chicken shit.
You don't mean that in a political sense at all.
No. No, in the welfare of a nation, of a world.
We don't even want to talk about what they have to airbrush out when they take his photo.
Yes, you're right. You're right. What did they ever... Well, actually, it's in it. That's the beauty of it. There it is. What is that? It looks like an arrow or a...
And it's funny, there's a funny touchstone that the audience understands that a camera lens is going to see something that a human eye is not going to see.
Do you think they anticipated from that?
I don't think they anticipate it, but when they see it, I think everyone says, oh, of course, because it's a camera, can see it. Ask anyone to explain that through physics. But it's funny that audiences understand things like that and accept them. You know, that lenses can see things, that can see something supernatural that the human eye can't see.
Yeah, well, we hear that all the time, don't we, though? Yeah. You're right, though. But where you see these photographs of imagery of... as a matter of fact, while I was making this film, Ed Begley died in my home. He was visiting the people who rented it.
Right.
And I have a picture of Ed Begley as a ghost in my yard. Shortly thereafter, and the camera tells the story, and I tell you it's the real thing. But when I look at it, I have to believe it.
Right.
It not an imperfection in the film or in the camera.
Right.
So you're right. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Why don't we do a picture about that? Somehow or other.
Ghosts in the machine.
Well, where the camera anticipates the story of the future. It's has that ever been done?
I don't know. There's that.
It's a clever idea where somebody gets a camera.
Yeah. It's like a haunted camera.
And it anticipates the future.
You know, that the photographer there, Kappa, who died.
Yeah.
You know, maybe
Kappa?
it's his camera.
Kappa?
It's his camera.
Right. Well, that was a lot of... Well, he
In
did
Vietnam,
some
he
great,
died when the French still had it,
Yeah.
All right, let's start working on that.
Okay. Maybe you'll have it by Wednesday.
Mrs. Horton.
This way, Mrs. Bale.
Billy Whitelaw. She was on Piccadilly, Shaftesbury, in a play at the time.
Right.
A great cast. I mean, in England, you get the finest actors. Not demeaning American actors, but I am. And only that the profession is taken to a much higher degree in England than it is here.
Yeah. You know, I remember I had a British actor once doing something, and it was awkward for them to do. And I said, well, change it, move wherever you want to get it done. And they said, oh, no, I'm going to move the way you've written it because that's discipline, and that'll make it better. And I never would hear that from an American.
No?
I'm sorry, but we're a little bit confused.
Oh, why is that?
Well,
I had to reshoot this scene because Greg, God love him, like all of us, when I got close on him, you could see his chins.
Right.
And he was really upset with me. And he said, how can you do that to me? And I reshot this little reverse, and I think I did it tighter, too. He was right. He's, still a great-looking man, great future coming into the shot here.
And he is playing a guy who's got a young family.
Yeah. So we top-lit him and redid it. But Billy Whitelaw, look at her. She stands out. Yeah. Something about her. Look at that look.
You know, there's something angelic about her, which is what makes it work. There's something kind of like a true believer.
Oh, yeah.
That she's radiating. It's not the kind of true believer you're used to.
She's an apostate.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the moment. Look at that.
Yeah. I know you always got a fire burning in that kid's room.
Real fire, too. None of that gas stuff.
Right.
I am here to protect thee.
I am here to protect thee. Good movie, Dick.
It is nice.
Yeah. I wish I could find something like this again.
It is nice. And that distance is nice, the door closing and we're leaving it behind.
Here's the scene where I got little Harvey when I was testing him. Here's another great shot. I love that.
Yeah.
That's an 18 millimeter, and yet it was so architecturally pure. It only bends at the very top.
Right.
See that?
Right.
Look at that. I love that shot.
If you don't mind, Mom, I think you'd rather go to the park instead.
To the park?
Harvey, where he protests going into the church is where the screen test I did with him, where he ended up kicking me in my privates.
Right.
I mean, he was such a tough little kid.
Right.
And that's how he got the part, really.
He's like the Artful Dodger.
Yeah. I talked like that for about a week. Look at that. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Gilbert Taylor.
But yeah, it's nice.
For speaking my mind, Mom, but do you really think a 5-year-old will understand the goings-on of an Episcopal wedding?
Will you have my son dressed and in the car in 5 minutes? Thank you very much.
The wardrobe was very interesting, too, because, also this picture is production designed or art directed at that time, if you will, by a 86 or 7-year-old woman.
Right.
Who was famous and also retired. And I talked her into doing it with Gil. And so much of this is this woman's. There's a scene that takes place in a cemetery in Italy.
Right.
Which is supposedly semi-dark.
In the it's an Etruscan. Oh, they call it an old Etruscan cemetery.
Hey, man, you did see this. She and Gil would be on parallels at night at the end of the shoot, actually painting the sky themselves.
Right.
Not art director, painters. And when you look at that scene, it's hard to believe that it was not exterior and real.
Right.
Quite amazing.
I was going to ask you about that when we got to it, if it was on stage or not.
All right, I'll forget it and we'll go back.
Yeah.
He seems, I don't know, he just seems scared to death.
Is he ill?
And it's nice how the suspense is gotten out of such little things. They're going to church. And there's a warning. Maybe you shouldn't take him there. He's too little to go to church.
Yeah, and nothing more than that.
And just just building up his behavior. They're just a kid who's acting up, maybe, but it's not.
You could take different music in this scene, and you'd have a totally different story about that child.
Yeah.
It could be just what you said. He doesn't want to be around people. Doesn't want to be exposed to something.
Yeah.
He's afraid of leaving his parents.
Yeah.
I shot this, by the way. I handheld a lot of this.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I shot a lot of the picture myself.
Stop it! Damn it, stop it! Damn it!
He does a good job in there too.
Tough little kid.
Yeah, and he's got a growl. He's not. He's not human sounding really. The way he does all that stuff sounds like a little howler monkey or something.
A little forced. Yeah. Good mix actually. It was a great mix.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I remember all that.
And even this, trying to put some classical music on to try to bring some peace to his day. It's nice. It's little character stuff that's just throwaway stuff, but it's nice.
Oh.
And it gives you something to cut to.
I can't get over this. I mean, I haven't. I literally haven't seen this in years. I don't think.
Yeah.
All the little things, all the touches. And everything was done for 11 cents. I mean, that was just a little corner that was painted done with the wallpaper there,
right.
existing window.
Right.
And yet it looks like a lavish bathroom in a magnificent home.
Yeah, it's nice.
Everybody was upset with me because I think I added a door behind her, and I don't think we used it. And everybody said, "What? You know how much that costed?"
But what I also like is that every scene to me, and maybe it's just my way of looking at it, but every scene to me feels like he's trying to tell her the truth about what happened 5 years ago.
That's exactly.
He always, like even right here, he looks like a guy who can't say what he's got to say.
But wants to desperately.
Yeah.
That was Greg.
Yeah.
That Greg had that in his head all the time.
Yeah.
Should I tell her?
Yeah.
Shouldn't I tell her? When's the opportunity?
Yeah.
I blew it just
then. Yeah. We're intimate here. I could have said, you know what, 5 years ago.
Yeah. But I think he realized it would have driven her nuts.
Yeah.
Because she is close to insanity.
Yeah.
She's an edgy person.
Yeah. And you get the feeling in the opening when they're talking about the baby that the baby's died. He doesn't know. You feel like there's a whole thing that's gone on before that about how much he's wanted this baby, that even in the opening of the film, he can't tell her.
That she lost the child, right.
Yeah. So you feel... That's what another thing I liked is Lee Remick always feels like there's something as beautiful as she is, there's something very fragile about her, and you always get the feeling that he's trying to protect her from something.
Yes. Yeah.
And that carries through from the moment you see her till the end.
And it carries through on him.
Yeah.
Because that's it. I mean, he can't...
He's picked sort of the devil's, besides the wealth, he's picked the perfect couple to give this child to.
The interesting part of all of what your observations are is that I said the one time we locked horns was about her death. You'll see in the scene following the telephone call that
Right.
She has died.
Right.
I'll explain what happened there.
Right.
And it was exactly that it was late in life. If he had only done it, what if?
It's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'll be grateful on your long trips away, sir.
Miss, if I want a dog in this house.
And if we do, I'll pick him out
Myself. Yeah.
And that's his version of screaming at her.
Yeah. Yeah. Except with me. I think I helped him purge himself of a lot of problems and allowed him to tear me apart.
But I always said, he's the guy you wish was your dad, Gregory Peck. There's such a kind of...
Well, on screen.
Yeah,
I think probably in real life, because he had a couple of wonderful children, Tony and his daughter.
But I mean his screen persona.
Yeah, but his screen persona, I think, had a lot to do with his real life. He was a gentle giant, calming, wonderful, very thoughtful, totally introspective.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a scene. Okay, here's an incident. We also shot in Safari Park a lion section.
Right. As opposed to the
I shot both the baboon and the lion, but then when it was edited, I decided it's enough. But in the lion,
I see.
In the lion one, when we were finished shooting, we moved on, and the guy who was the lion in charge of the lions left his gate shack open, and that night they attacked and killed him.
Really?
Right after we left. It's in all the newspapers.
Right.
And it became a big thing, the Omen.
Right.
Where it was just a horrible mistake and a victim of circumstance or stupidity.
Right. And this is outside of London? This place?
It's called the Windsor Safari Park.
Right.
Where they have all these wonderful animals. Yeah, terrible. I mean, I guess some of them it's great for children to see zoos, but I'm so against them. It's extraordinary. But then when we did the baboon scene, which is coming, this was my lesson in storyboards, because we storyboarded it so perfectly.
Right.
And I understood it, and the cameraman understood it, and assistant directors. The damn baboons had no idea what I was talking about. I showed them the drawings and everything, but they wouldn't relate. So we had to improvise the whole thing with these baboons attacking the car.
Were they SAG baboons, or they?
Pardon me?
They were SAG baboons, or they were non-union baboons?
They were non-union.
Yeah,
It was an inexpensive film.
Yeah.
Probably if we'd gotten SAG baboons, they would have been producers. There's Patrick again. So then we decided the baboons wouldn't do anything. So we put bananas on the cars and let them loose, and they came running at us. But then they grabbed the bananas and started eating.
Right.
And we couldn't get it until one.
And it's before you could CGI the bananas out of their hands.
No CGI. This is a real thing,
Yeah.
pal. So one of the keepers there said, listen, he said, we have the lead baboon. And he had been...
Right, like the alpha...
Yeah, the alpha boy, he had been attacked and had a bad cut. The doctor had come in and sewed him up, and he was coming out of anesthesia. If we put him in the car, they would attack the car to get him.
Right.
Again, I handheld it in the back. Lee is driving. The little guy is in the window, and I have the father of all baboons in the back, and I'm holding him with my left hand, holding a little Airy 2C with my right, but I'm holding him up to the window because there's no room in that little car for batteries, lights, and they see it, and they were going nuts to get at him.
Right.
And Lee is really screaming.
Right.
But what I don't realize is the baboon has come partially to and has Lee's hair from the back, and it's really pulling on her. And these guys are going, as the expression is, ape.
Right.
To get us, and they wanted that baboon.
Yeah.
And this guy is signaling us, and when I realized, he was saying, I think you better get out of there, because if they break a window, they're going to be in the car.
Right.
So it was one of those,
what is your motivation?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Great stuff.
Yeah. And again, it goes along with that whole, the camera can see something. Oh, I just wanted to ask you about this painting on the wall. There's a strange painting.
I have
of a
those
woman with a like in mourning. With a little
I
white
have.
dog.
It's a very wonderful artist. I bought a lot. I have about 4 of his paintings. I can't think of his name, but he's wonderful. Patrick.
Because it's an unnerving. You only see it on the side there, but it's an unnerving little picture.
He did a lot of English aristocracy. Very interpretive.
Right.
Napoleon's I have. I can't think of his name. I don't think he's around anymore. But I'm very aware of the painting.
But when I watched it this morning,
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's a woman with a veil on.
Yeah.
And then she dies with a veil on.
You're right, with the nightgown over her head.
Yeah, so
Very symbolic.
I didn't
very
know if it's,
anticipatory of. You're way ahead of me.
but it's an unnerving. And there's another one downstairs. You see another one downstairs.
Yeah, in the big room.
I didn't know if it was the same artist.
Same
or not.
artist. Yeah.
No, but what I was going to say was, in keeping with the lens, there's also that idea that everyone accepts is that animals can sense something that people might have bred out of them, maybe, or so the animals sense the evil in the kid.
I think it's true.
Yeah,
I think that the animals, sense a lot of things in advance of all of us.
Like my dogs never growl at anybody, and the few people they have growled at,
There was reason.
Yeah. But it's a nice little natural thing to use without having to revert to tricks.
And without having to hit you on the head with it.
Yeah.
Keep that scrum tight! Get down low!
This is right outside Windsor Castle. That's the grounds, Windsor grounds.
Right.
It's called the Windsor Match, or whatever they call the grounds. And that's the castle right there, Windsor Castle, right before the fire.
Right.
Yeah. There's David.
He's kind of an interesting character. Kind of you don't know anything about him. It's a photographer who's onto something, and you don't quite know.
But he doesn't know what he's onto.
Yeah.
If he did, he wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Because what he's onto eventually brings about his own death.
Yeah.
27 to 3?
Right, that'll be £3.
I still don't know what a quid is. I guess it's a pound, but
A quid?
I don't know why they say quids.
A
Sometimes
quid
they say
is
pounds.
like a quid is a pound.
Yeah.
A guinea is a pound, and what's a pence? Which they
But then what's a tuppence?
a tuppence is 2 pennies.
Oh.
Tuppence.
Oh, right,
Tuppence, look.
twopence, okay.
2 pence.
Your wife is in danger. She'll die unless you come.
That's the backgrounds of everything we did in one day. That was the background on the cut from the match field to Shepperton Studios,
Right.
which is now owned by the Tony and
Ridley
Scott.
Yeah.
Beautiful old building.
Now even he's got the red collar, like bloody. He gets his head cut off. And on
Boy,
this,
you're reading more into this than I did.
on
but
this jacket, it's like he's got a bloody.
if you weren't here, I'd say, you know what, that red collar, I put it on one foot because I would cut from that to the red of inside to see.
That's a costume designer who's really done her homework, though.
Everybody did their homework on this picture.
Yeah.
Good people. Great crew.
And again, a scarf around his neck. Not to go on and on, but this guy's a guy who's worried about his head getting cut off.
No, poor David had the worst case of psoriasis. Just terrible. And he was so embarrassed with it, he always wore a scarf. Matter of fact, dear Gregory Peck cared for him so he arranged to send him to a special clinic in Switzerland, which I think was really helped David.
Right.
And I think he's been cured since. Yeah, but you want to read in that? You can read in that. It's I love that stuff when people read things into. I always just say, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm glad you thought of that. But watch this. This is great because this is where he sees the death of Patrick.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love this scene. This scene was done in the park right on the Thames, and we had one Ritter.
Right.
We had a really old lightning machine and a really great special effects man named John Richardson, who was just great. He worked the decapitation.
Yeah. No, I've seen some bad wind in movies, and just think you only had one fan because it really works well.
Yeah, it just came up.
And the debris is just right, kind of
just
thrown
enough.
in there. Yeah.
The lightning burst in the tree was just.
Yeah.
When the Jews return to Zion and a comet rips the sky.
These are great shots. Everybody.
But here's where you were talking about being intimate.
Yeah.
With that lens.
Well,
with that format.
It's a wide lens, uptight. 32 millimeter lens.
Turning man against his brother.
Till man exists no more. Now, man, I can remember that.
Yeah. And it's funny, he gets him there by saying, I have to tell you something about your wife.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing that's going to get him
That's
there.
right. He gets him on that telephone in the...
And again, it's Gregory Peck worried about his wife. And
what he has done.
90% of everything he gets into is because of that.
Yeah.
See the old man Bugenhagen.
Bugenhagen. Great actor. Went on to play a wonderful character for me in Lady Hawk.
Right, he's the monk, or the priest, or...
Oh, I wish I had a memory.
And again, it's a good time to be back to Stuart Beard.
Oh, great editor.
Kind of knowing when to be in and when to be out.
Yeah. Great editor.
Yeah.
Wonderful editor. Great director. He should be out directing more.
God's name are you talking about?
That's a nice angle there.
Yeah.
And the nice eyes.
He will kill the unborn child.
It's good. When you have an apostate, you need him to have blue eyes.
He will kill you.
That's enough.
And with your wealth and power, he will establish his counterfeit kingdom here on earth, receiving his power directly from Satan.
It's funny, because this is the stuff he can't accept. He can
No,
accept there's something's wrong, but...
Well, and he can't accept it.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you're really with him and you're in the audience,
Yeah.
then you can't accept it.
Yeah.
For those that do, that's their problem.
Yeah.
They see a totally different picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never want to see you.
He's a zealot. He's a religious zealot.
Yeah.
That makes no sense whatsoever in the world of reality.
Is that a diopter there also?
That sure is. You can see the first bar
Right.
past him.
Right.
How it's slightly forced.
We should say a diopter is a lens
Split
that has
diopter.
two focal...
Two focal planes.
Focal planes, yeah.
Oh. Here it comes. Oh, you know, when you shot this stuff, you never thought, oh, my God, that's not going to work. This is
Right.
I keep saying, oh, my God, and I'm an atheist.
And the takes where the wind is not good, and you're wondering
Yeah.
if this is ever, you're going to ever pull this
Paint it
off.
over. Quick, get the tree.
Yeah.
But this was great. Stuart Baird. This is an editor who, you know, takes a sow's ear and turns it into a sow's foot.
You still got to give him the footage to cut, though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we only had one camera in those days. You didn't have the money to have two cameras in.
Yeah. You got lucky with the weather, too. It's like
unbelievable.
You go out, and I'm sure with the budget you didn't have time to say, you know, this light's not right. We'll try again tomorrow.
No. Well, you can see how intense the sun is in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
See it down the end of the field there?
Yeah.
But at a certain time of day, this presented such an arch of light. I mean, taking light out.
Right.
Here's our set the tree for the blast.
Yeah. That's a really long lens there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it works well. It works
and that's a lot of smoke. Too much smoke, darn it, Not enough wind blowing.
Right.
Too much wind blowing.
Right.
Pan the ritter around. Whoop, you hit the operator. I mean, that's... When you don't have the money, that's...
And today, you just have them run through there and then add it all in later.
Oh, yeah. Well, but you can't. I mean, you can, you're right. But it's harder for the actor.
Yeah.
The actor could relate to all this.
Yeah.
I mean, when this is right on the post now is Brillo. We use pieces of Brillo, and we electrified them with a little strip of magnesium so that... And that's what it cost, was $19.
Right.
But as that lightning hits, Patrick was there.
Right.
With that lightning we did.
Right.
But that little hit on the post
right.
and burning stuff, that's little things that... sure, you can add it later, but when you're there and it's almost in your hand...
Yeah. You're not reacting to a piece of tape somewhere.
Why up high? Something. I got lots of threats in this movie when this came out because supposedly I let the devil win.
Right.
And again, a lot of zealots came at me. What is that?
Right. Now this is great. It's a great payoff for the audience when they've seen that line on those photographs, and now they see this.
Yeah.
It's nice, you're really involving the audience in there, and
And in anticipation of the
rewarding
photos to come.
rewarding them for sitting there trying to figure out what it is
Good.
and what it means. Did you have trouble getting permits to shoot it around churches and things like that?
No, most of the churches were redundant.
Right.
That was a redundant one, and there was the one where we shoot the interior.
They had been deconsecrated or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
That's the painting I was talking about there on the wall.
I can't think of the name.
So unnerving, that little, it's in the background.
I can't think of his name.
But it's just unnerving, that image, kind of hanging out over the room.
Yeah. I think they're right. That was a knight. That was a knight, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah. And a squire or something like that. Yeah, the squire's in the foreground.
Right. Right.
But I got the impression that she's starting to lose it here a bit.
Totally.
But you get the feeling
Her
that
own child.
it's hearkening him back to the way she was before the movie started. I always felt like there was some problem with her that he felt like he had overcome before the movie began, and that's why telling her that she had lost the baby was unacceptable.
Well, again, you're the writer, director, and you're reading something that would be good to work with actors on. In our case, we used the fact that she had wanted a child for so long.
Right.
And finally had it so he felt that it was the moment.
Right.
You know, not that it was something prolonged over a period of time, but that the fact that he was going to tell her she lost that child that she wanted for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think is a common factor in a lot of families.
Yeah.
There's something he wants to talk to you about anyway.
Look at the lighting.
Yeah.
How you concentrate on her, but I mean, little things like this. He was just a master.
There's a lot of, all through the movie, there's lots of reflective kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Then you'll agree to an abortion.
Yeah. She's had trouble telling him the truth, too.
Right.
He kind of slips it in there.
And he has already been told.
Yeah.
That,
the child.
Yeah.
That she's pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah. And how could that be? You know, I mean, this is insanity. I mean, there can be no reality to this.
It's this moment where he has to start to think,
What's
what the hell's
happening to
going
me?
on,
Yeah,
you know? Is there more to this than my reality says there is?
Yes? Yes, this is he. Who?
He who?
Have you read all those books that are on the wall there?
They're all mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I carry them with me wherever I go, actually. I had about $1,000 in overages in my transportation for that. Yeah. But you never can tell when you want to pick something up.
Yeah.
Like a newspaper and see something.
I always find myself trying to read what the headline was.
Oh,
It's just out of frame.
that's a good reason.
She knew how much you wanted one. Now she can't cope. She searches for reasons that won't make her feel inadequate. She has these fantasies. She fantasizes that your child is alien.
This is a little kind of psychiatric explanation of what's going on.
From a clinical point of view.
Yeah, but which is no longer holding water with him quite.
No.
He's a little adrift here as to what to think.
Evil.
Now, this is just fantasy. She also thinks the child isn't hers.
A week ago, he would have been, yeah, you're right. You're right, Doc.
Yeah.
Now he's...
Now. This is all in that same building. Everything was in that building that we filmed in. We never left.
At Pinewood or?
No.
Oh, no, at the Guinness
At the
estate.
Guinness estate.
Right.
Anything available, we shot it.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Including having a Thanksgiving dinner there for the entire crew.
Right.
And when we realized that, we were thankful that we were nowhere longer part of England.
We didn't have to wear handkerchiefs in our jackets anymore.
Union pulled a strike on. Why did they wear handkerchiefs in their jackets?
They got colds a lot because it's damp there.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Now you see this car?
Yeah.
Right there? That's my car. That's a Jensen Interceptor convertible.
Right.
I bought it for the picture.
Did you take it home with you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. You notice it's a left-hand drive in England.
Right.
Wish I still had it. Now, this scene is interesting because, I don't know, did I ever tell you the story in this scene?
No.
I had planned this scene for a long period of time that Lee's fall, I would put her on a crane, strap her to a crane, put a bodysuit on her, and just travel slowly down with her face at high speed and bring her down, put her on a rubber floor.
Right.
Little piece of rubber. They went over to fit her 2 days before I'm ready to shoot this, and she refused to do it. And I said, why? She said, because my husband's assistant director, I'm not going to be on a crane that goes down. If I hurt, now watch. So setting that goldfish bowl there. So anyway, I was desperate, didn't know what to do. At the last minute, we came up with this. How am I going to do the fall?
Right.
It's been a question. Nowadays, you could do it so simply, but watch.
Right.
When the kids, so we set the bowl there, we set it on, we do this child, we do Billy Whitelaw, but I cannot allow Lee to do anything that's dangerous. She won't allow me now. Yeah, I felt it wasn't, but she said, then you do it.
Right.
I said, okay.
Right.
So the kid comes out. She sees him coming at the last minute down the long hall, and it's just a child on a bicycle. But, bang, she looks down, he hits her, she topples. But as she topples, she knocks the goldfish bowl over.
Right.
At 120 frames, it smashes.
It gives you a sense of the height.
Sense of the height. Those are not real goldfish. They're sardines painted orange, because I wouldn't use live.
Right, right.
That was a stunt double. This is her standing on a box.
Right.
Standing on a box. This is her standing on a box. Now, that's a stunt lady into box. Now, that is, I took the floor and I put it on the wall.
Right.
And I glued the goldfish in it, and the dead goldfish, and I glued the glass, and I put the palm tree in it, and the rug all wired up.
Right.
And I put her on a dolly with her face standing, and she dollied straight away from me, turned the dolly, and she hits the wall.
Right.
And it looks like she fell.
She just walks into a wall.
Yeah. And actually, she's just walking into a wall that was the floor.
Right. Right. That's great.
So, yeah. But that was a group of us trying to figure it out the 11th hour.
Right.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that scene of I don't know if you ever saw the Saturday Night Live parody of The Omen.
No.
Which is great. It's great, and it's such a compliment to the movie. Yeah. But they had John Belushi on a huge tricycle riding around in the hallway, which I always remembered.
Ambassador Thorne? Yes, Doctor?
Great cast.
Yeah.
Every individual.
You know this guy's played a doctor 70 times.
Yeah.
And
he played a lot of lawyers, too.
Yeah, but he...
Barristers.
But that,
yeah, of course.
But you just believe, the second you see his face, you believe him. You believe him.
She has a concussion, a broken humerus, and, some internal bleeding.
Lost the baby. Part of the prophecy.
Yeah. And there's even a nice subtext here with the doctor says to him, hey, you should be happy she's alive and can have another kid. He's not privy to what's going through he's finding Gregory's Peck's reaction very wrong for what he's told him.
And the way he delivers it, because he said internal bleeding, and Peck says, but she's pregnant. And the doctor looks at him and he says,
no, she's
no.
Not, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, instead of just, here, listen.
And with proper care, she can still have children.
Yeah. It's a little thing. It's a little bit of information, but the actors are going that extra bit. He's not just there to deliver it. He's there to deliver and play his read on Peck as having odd behavior.
Helping him through.
Is this a practical set? Or
that was a practical set at a hospital. We shot this sequence there. It was, a redundant hospital in London.
Right.
Shot this, and then it took us a day to do this, and the news reporters and all in the hospital. And then Lee waking at night, and then the fall into the ambulance. It was all a day's work. A day and 4 hours into the night.
How many days did you shoot?
I don't remember, but it wasn't much. I mean, it was a bit of a television schedule.
Right.
It was interesting because this was a big, important picture for me in a strange way, but going through it, I just said, you know what, I'm going back to television.
Right.
I can't put up with this.
Right.
It seemed like a possible feat to get this whole thing done in the time allotted.
But you had shot a lot of TV around that time, so you were moving pretty quick, I would think.
Oh, boy, yeah, had to.
Yeah. But you were used to moving quick.
I still am. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You never let down the energy.
Yeah, you're not killing the scene by just because you have 3 days to shoot it doesn't mean you should shoot it in 3
Right.
days.
It's indulging yourself in the wrong way.
Again, the house becomes sinister with these wide shots and railings and
shadows.
It's just something. It's like he's walking through a maze here in a weird sort of way.
Later, when he's downstairs and the dog goes by that railing upstairs, and Jerry Goldsmith brought in Gregorian chants.
Is that there's a moment where you don't even see the dog. You just hear his
him.
paws and the heaviness of him.
That's right. He's got a big decision to make right here.
Yeah.
What do I do? Here we go again. This is a great moment.
But it's
when he turns. The protectorates are there. Again, another apostate, really, because the dog becomes one.
Yeah.
Now, that dog wanted to get up and lick his face.
Yeah.
And we just try to get him up. We put rubber bands on his,
right,
across his nose to hold his lips up.
Right.
The poor guy.
He's a stranger in his own house.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about it. Who's this woman sleeping over here? The hell's, I thought this dog was gone. What's that thing over there in the bed? It's just nice that he's been...
It's not my son.
Yeah, it's very unnerving in your own house.
But the top of his head was featured here for a reason, because eventually that's where we...
Right, where you find the mark. Yeah. Phones have come a long way.
Yeah. I mean, they have push buttons for 2 phones?
Well, the great thing is he's an ambassador, a wealthy guy. So at the time, I'm sure it's the most high-tech phone that you could find.
Totally.
Whose camera got smashed at the embassy. I wonder if it would be possible to have a word.
Wonderful actor.
What I like about David Warner here is that he's got this urgency suddenly to him. When you watch it at first, you're like, we know he's been investigating, but he seems a little unnerved now.
Well, we'll find out why.
And you find out why. So it's nice. You know, it's good tracking of the character.
Sure, because he shows in this prequel, in a strange way, to everything that's happened, that there's a rope around her neck.
Yeah.
Sorry. At first I thought this was just...
Is it a shadow? Is it coincidence?
Yeah.
Sure, of course it is.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's a strange coincidence.
Takes me back a long time.
Yeah. It's very subtle. It's nice. Depending on your point of view, you could think something creepy's going on,
or it's coincidence.
Yeah.
It becomes pivotal for Peck.
Yeah.
When you're working with somebody like Gregory Peck in this role, to get him to play this role, it's got to be coincidence.
Right.
You can't ask Gregory Peck at that time to play a role where demonic beings existed and that the devil was out there and fighting the church, because it would become...
It's too fantastic.
Yeah, I was
for
going
a
to
guy
say,
who's grounded
sci-fi.
in reality.
And so when you made this actor who had to play the role of a man who slowly lost all sense of reality until he...
was going to kill his son. Yeah.
Yeah. Sanity, loses his sanity.
Yeah.
Externally, his body was perfectly normal, except for one small thing in the inside of his right thigh.
What is it?
3 6s. 666.
I think he had the most formidable eyebrows ever in the history of acting.
Yes, Ahab. He hated that movie, by the way.
I mean, it's funny because they're all tools, you know, even the eyebrows.
Yeah.
Now, if I could reference myself just once, this reminds me of Mel's apartment in Conspiracy Theory, with all the stuff on the walls.
Oh, right. Is that where you got it from?
I can't say. I can't say. No, but just that sort of...
This was a location.
Right.
The reason being, it was in Chelsea, and there was a church across the street.
Right.
That we sneaked the light on.
Oh, cool.
Because,
cool.
That was a location. You're right. Much like Mel's apartment.
Yeah.
Just as insane.
Yeah.
Just as a protectorate.
Police thought he was insane, so they didn't mind me coming.
And that's another thing. Today, you'd CGI, you just shoot it on stage and CGI the church.
Yeah. You're right.
But it's nice. It forces you to focus on things,
God.
not having that luxury.
It's so much better.
Yeah. Because anything is possible, then you don't make a decision. So, you know.
But it's not only that. It's the actors are working in the reality of it, not what the end of the film will be, what you're going to add time after time till you get it right. It's there. They're living it. It's got to be part of them.
Supposed to have met you in Bishop's Park, and that was dated.
And the other thing is being forced to try to find a location that looks on that church. You end up in this great space with these
grotto.
It's great. It's like it's a gift, you know, that you find that place.
Good location managers.
Yep.
I mean, really, you know, send somebody out, tell them an idea of what you're looking for, and they come up with something even better.
Yeah.
Well, this was done on the same day we did the exterior of the hospital, which was also on Fulham Road.
Right.
Everything had to be compact.
Right.
Every day had to be filled with very little travel.
Right.
But lots of photography.
If you had a company move, it had to be pretty close.
Yeah, it was a block.
Yeah.
Literally, everything was a block in this area.
It's a birth announcement from a Rome newspaper, also dated the 6th of June.
And how many actors could deliver these lines?
Yeah.
Your son was born. 6th month.
And it's nice because now the information that is in the real world is starting to back things up, and the two worlds are
coming together.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to work out this.
And they're almost in a church. It's like a confessional the way the set is. You know, it's.
See this?
Yeah.
Everything's compressed.
Yeah. He's his confessor in a weird sort of way. And he confesses, in fact, right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm raising.
If you wouldn't mind, Mr. Thorne, I'd like to help you try and find out.
No. It's my problem.
No, sir, you're wrong. It's my problem, too. When I came here with the police, I took some photographs. I happened to catch sight of my own reflection in that mirror.
And we got the bloody neck there again with the jacket.
Oh, yeah, and here it is.
Now, this is the great reveal, because you wonder why David Warner is getting a little more urgent.
Now you know.
And now you know.
If it happened to both of them.
And he's got some kind of mark around his... It wouldn't want to make you do too many self-portraits, you know.
All right here. You'll be perfectly all right.
What's also interesting story-wise is she's, because of what's happened to her physically, she's been removed a bit from the investigation, which
and
is important.
incapacitated.
It gets him on his own, and there's less and less for him to...
But he had to be on his own.
Yeah. And also, it's very much a private investigator story.
Should we set up that little cellar?
Yeah. Because we see that
later with the dog.
Yeah. We don't have much use for root cellars anymore.
It's not a root cellar. It's the it like two separate homes down below there.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Unbelievable how they lived. How the servants had quarters both there and the very top of the building.
It's real upstairs, downstairs.
Oh boy.
Did you get any free beer?
No, but I stole a wonderful piece of antiquity that's in my home. Actually, I didn't steal. It was given to me by the manager.
Is this the... What is this?
This is where he wants that dog.
No, what did you steal?
Oh, it's that knife cleaner.
Oh.
That's in the base of the staircase in our house.
Right.
Look at these shots.
Yeah. Back in Rome.
This we went to Rome. Now, this area in Rome, each area is run by a small mafia family.
Right.
The man who's driving this taxi was the son of the mafioso.
Right.
And that's how we got the deal.
Right.
If you'll notice, his hands are fine. And then, if you look carefully, he's got a bandage on his thumb. Gregory Peck closed the door on his thumb,
right.
And he almost lost it.
Right, I see it there.
And yeah, you see it? Right. And we had threats.
Right.
Literally, this was the guy's loving son that we were trying to kill. I mean, it was a horrible moment.
Right.
The reverse is the thumb is not bandaged.
What's great is that the old city like Rome, 30 years later, everything still looks the same. It's just the cars that are different,
30 years,
but nothing
hundreds
changes.
of years.
Yeah,
No.
nothing changes. All those places, I'm sure, are still there.
My favorite city, which we went back to shoot Lady Hawk in.
Right.
And fell in love with my wonderful wife, the great producer, Lauren Shuler-Donner.
There's a funny thing going on back there of that sailor being taken out of the background action of the sailor being taken out of the truck.
Yeah.
And they're not being very sympathetic. You
No,
can tell
that
there's a drunken disorderly,
Great assistant director, David Tomlin,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
did Superman with me,
Yeah.
did this, did Lady Hawk.
I know he did Braveheart.
And Braveheart.
Yeah.
He just recently died.
Yeah.
Great assistant.
Yeah.
This is most important to me. I adopted a child here. I'm searching for some records.
And this is the wonderful little thing. I really staged this here because of this little elevator, personal elevator.
Yeah.
Have you seen?
Yeah.
And I had to look at things like the guy putting up the light in the hall down there. Did you notice that on the background?
Right. Yeah.
Searching for reality of
Right.
what goes on in the life of a hospital.
Right.
All the paperwork was there. Went up like a torch. Shut up the stairwells. The third floor became an inferno.
The third floor?
The nursery and maternity wards. Nothing left but ashes.
Yeah, when you see this elevator, I don't think it meets safety standards.
No, not today. I took it. I had to convince everybody it was safe, so I took it. But it's fascinating.
And it's also...
It doesn't stop.
Yeah. So it's just kind of you get on and get off where you want to get off.
If you don't get off the proper time, you end up going down upside down.
Yeah.
Where?
He's in a monastero in Frosinone.
Frosinone.
And it's great. The mystery is again, it's that
Deepens.
private investigator story.
Uh-huh.
Where is he now? Where do I find him?
Yeah.
Which bases it in reality again.
And it's not my livelihood.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm stumbling through this trying to put it together.
And it's not the audience. The audience
there we
is
go.
with
There
him.
there she goes.
She's like going up to heaven.
Yeah.
That's the symbolism. And then they can look up her dress.
He did. David did. I had to reshoot it 3 times.
But yeah, so the audience is right with him because he's no smarter about how to go about this than they would be.
This was the day of a strike. We had a strike. And we couldn't afford a strike.
Right.
Oh, no, that's not the day. It's when they stop at the coffee place.
So,
But it was the same day.
Right.
I think it was this day. And we had a strike. And so the gaffer, the key grip, and everything, about 5 of them came out on their own. I drove a small pickup truck.
Right.
And we shot this ourselves.
Right.
With the advice of the crew who couldn't do anything.
Right.
But sat around.
Right.
Just amazing.
The Devil's Child.
Now you got real rain here, it looks like.
Here's the shot.
Yeah.
We shot this, literally lit it. As you can see, it may not be perfect.
Right.
There has been a comet.
And it's that cappuccino, and wherever you go in Italy, you're going to find a good cappuccino.
Especially at an Esso place who gave us a 10%
Right.
discount on our gas for 2
Right.
weeks.
It says, he shall rise from the eternal sea.
You got some more good background action there.
David Tomlin.
Checking the...
I think that's
checking the
David,
window.
actually.
Have already interpreted the eternal sea as meaning the world of politics. The sea that constantly rages with turmoil and revolution.
And again, they're trying to put it together. 2 kind of non-believers trying to figure out what it is they're in the middle of.
And the expedience is 1 dolly track with 2 moves.
Right. Right.
Pull back for the original, and then as he goes, then go forward. You got it, man, you're out of there.
Yeah, not a lot of... You don't have to cover it. Just get in, get the information out.
Now, this was fortuitous. The sheep we hadn't planned on.
Right.
Were literally coming down this road.
The other thing I like about this shot is it's the dirtiest windshield ever in cinema.
I know. Don't clean that window.
It looks... You never see a windshield that clean in real life.
No, because prop men, that's all they do is clean windows unless you break their arms.
But that's a nice one.
Beautiful place. See the sheep?
Yeah.
They weren't so bad.
That's a nice location.
Isn't that?
too.
Yeah, gorgeous.
It's nice to be looking down on it because you'd think you'd look up at a location like that. But it's interesting that instead you're looking down on it.
Well, I want to come up with a really good reason why. The only thing I can come up with was the best shot I could find of it. You get a location like that, either you find a postcard of it to find the best, or you just drive 360 degrees to find out which it is.
It's you see him on the way back from seeing the location you didn't like.
Now, this interior is a redundant church, as I said, in Chelsea.
Right.
Right on the embankment, right on the Thames.
Oh, great, great. Yeah, probably out that window you can see an office building.
You can.
Right out.
You rat. You had to point it out, huh?
I never saw that. I've seen this movie 5 times, and that's the first time I ever noticed it. But it's kind of blue, so you don't really see it.
Yeah. Great extras.
Yeah, yeah.
They're actors.
Good Italian faces and.
But they're English.
Oh no, they're English. Sorry. See, now you got. I see the building, but I can't see that.
There he is.
Yeah. And this is you set up with the profile, the reveal of what's happened to him.
Which was told by the nurse about the fire.
Right.
Now, this is back at the monastery location.
Yeah.
His mind is active, but since the fire, he's not made a sound. We feed him and take care of him.
I mean, places like this were even older than America.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, like in Rome, I remember the Capitoline Museum, someone told me, had been a museum since before Columbus discovered America.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Yeah,
you know.
I know.
It either makes you think time is very short or it's very long. I haven't figured it out yet.
I don't want to think about it.
Some movement in his left hand. He was able to write it down.
And these are always great because very little you have to do, set dressing-wise and all that stuff.
It's there, it existed.
Yeah, throw some straw around over the cables and shoot.
666. And now, supposedly that's been disproved. That's not the sign of the devil.
Really?
Yeah, now it's 621 or something. And that means I have to reshoot the whole film.
Yeah. Now, in the Saturday Night Live parody, they tell him to look for the mark 666.
Yeah.
And Dan Aykroyd comes up and finds it, but he's looking kind of over the top when he sees it. And he goes, oh, no, it's 999. And the guy says, well, you're all right then.
My name is Thorne. There was a child. I want to know where that child came from.
I'm afraid it's...
You confess to that.
It's funny, though, that you didn't know when they were writing the Bible that they were setting you up for a movie when they wrote the Book of Revelations.
Well, they had picture rights.
Right.
You got to make a deal with the church on all this. Yeah. My God, that Bible's been a supplier of great pictures.
Well, that's the great
time immemorial.
It's that thing of it. It gives you a kind of mythology, if you will, for a lot of things.
Steeped in reality.
Because people know it, and it makes them believe it even more, as opposed to trying to invent your own. You see, a lot of movies that have something like this in it fail because they've tried to invent something that didn't exist, and it doesn't hold water.
Right.
Another thing I like about this movie is that it's all in the old, except for the very end, it's all in the old world. And you buy it even more for that reason. It's closer to the source in a way. But if you tried to do it in New York, I don't think it would feel as good.
No. I think they did one of the sequels, didn't they?
And it just takes something...
Yeah, I shot that. No, we wanted to go up there with the bells ringing.
It's nice that you cut to the bells so you don't have a 15 minutes of waiting for this guy to write this down. That red around Warner's neck is getting more and more vivid. I think you guys are changing the color of it. As
we're making it a little. We're very well planned. Intensify the color.
13 shades of red used throughout the.
That's the name of the movie. 13 Shades of Red. Funny, because we started out as the Antichrist.
The title?
Yeah, that was the original screenplay. That was Harvey Bernhardt's idea. And then we had all kinds of static from everybody on it, so we changed it to the mark. And I said, well, mark, they said the mark of the devil. I said,
right.
But then we had to change it again because they said people could have disfigured marks on their face. I said, come on, man, we're making a movie.
Right.
So we finally came up with the omen, only because of the fact that we could use the expression, you have been warned.
Right.
It's an omen.
Right.
Oh, here they go to the cemetery.
That's a nice kind of twilight.
Now this
which matches that actual location kind of
goes to this.
Feels like it's another half hour or 15 minutes later.
And there's the set. This is all interior.
Yep.
And I'm serious. We had no money. So when you look at it, it's a large set, but all it is dirt, a couple of gravestones, and a metal fence.
Yeah.
A tree, everything that was existing.
Right.
The most expensive part of this thing is what, wait, you'll see, is that skyline at night, which I'm passionate about.
Yeah. Which is a painted backdrop.
Painted backdrop. I mean, you look at this, Gil Taylor.
Yeah, no,
it's real.
You really buy it. It's funny, the movie's full of these kind of gates and fences and barriers, and it's just
Don't
nice.
go through there.
Yeah, it's trying to help
climb
you.
over.
It's there for a reason, yeah.
Don't open that door.
Yeah.
It's cat out of the closet.
Yeah, and you get what's coming to you because you ignore the
Violated
warning
the
signs.
warning.
Yeah. Don't wear red collars.
Things like this. I don't know if you had the arguments with Greg, not arguments, but discussions, when he finally looks in and he sees the jackal. And it can't be.
Yeah.
So how do we explain it in our minds? It's that there were thieves that would steal bodies or whatever was on it, and there was a dead dog in the cemetery. Guy threw it in, so nobody...
Right.
And that was it. And you accept it.
Yeah.
As the actor proceeding.
Yeah.
But he's starting to go now.
Yeah.
In the next scene, which the one I had the big argument with, is where the character he's crossed the line.
Right. Did you shoot very much in sequence, or were you out of sequence?
No, totally out of sequence.
Yeah. Sort of have planned it out even more so then.
Oh, you had to.
Here again, you're going to deny it, but you're looking down.
It's from a point of view.
Yeah.
Here it is right here. It's an animal.
Oh, I see, right.
Yeah.
But again, it's a descent. It's like looking down at the monastery and going down here. And
it also helps you with the background.
Yeah.
But we had the movement of the dog in the foreground.
Right.
Without the growl, so the audience sucked it in right there. I mean,
Right.
it went,
And this is a payoff of the dates again, where you pay off the death dates. So it's all something that could be explained away, but not really.
Maria Scianna.
My God. June 6th. 5 years ago. Bambino Scianna.
there's the dog again.
Yeah, it's nice. That just like handheld
Looking down.
look, creepiness. And it's funny how the audience is educated to know that kind of handheld. You know, they just know. They know. Yeah. It's a great partnership when you can use all that stuff.
Yeah, you're right. It's been all preformed in many films.
Yeah.
The mother of the child you adopted.
Why here, in this terrible place?
And it's nice, the music, how it comes in and out, and then there's just the natural sounds are scary, and they grow. They get kind of the wind feels like it kind of gets a little more ominous. And
this movement is something its point of view.
Yeah.
Oh.
The nice thing is we don't see much of it. You don't dwell on it. You know, it's just he can't.
Yeah, I know, just enough.
That's it.
Yeah.
The other one.
No. Let's get out of here.
If it's an animal too, then maybe my child.
What I like here is that Warner's instinct is to go.
To get out of here now.
But Peck can't, because it's his potentially his son, his dead son that he never, held even. It's a father trying to find out what happened to his son. And when you see the hole.
Oh my God, his brain's been.
What I also like is no one has to say, "Oh, look at there's a hole in his skull." It must have, it's just you get it. And now it's personal because now it's his son, and they've killed his son. And it's like it goes up a step, because as opposed to just trying to learn the truth, it's now they also killed his son 5 years ago. He didn't die in a childbirth situation.
So why?
Robert.
The other thing I like is that the dog's there, and Peck has to cover up the tomb. He's not going to leave his son's tomb uncovered.
David's trying to pull him away.
Yeah, which is very
sacred.
Yeah.
Run. It's only the smell of the graves.
But it's this that's going to give him, if he can go through with killing Damien, it's this that's going to give him the ability to do it. How did you do all this using the real actors as in whichever shot?
Well,
you used
most of
them?
the dogs really are barking for a bone,
right,
or a rubber arm. If you see this in a wide angle, you'll actually see dogs are trying to make love.
Right,
Two of them.
Right.
This was a dog trained to hold onto a boot.
Right. This is nice too, because all those fences we've seen with all those pointy things
now
on
paying
them.
off.
Yeah.
They still won't let him free.
Yeah, it's like the grounds have a hold of him.
Yeah. On his foot is a little dummy head of a dog, which I used to keep in my apartment. This one moment here on David is the reverse is a stunt man. And the damn dog wanted that boot. The boot had a toy in it that he wanted, and he actually pulled this guy down.
Right.
I mean, that dog was powerful. But here, they're barking out of friendship and love.
Right, right.
So, folks, you can have a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Good scene.
Yeah.
Well cut.
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing that that's on stage.
Yeah.
I think.
Couldn't have done it any other way. I mean, to control that at night would have been so expensive and so timely.
You'd have to shoot 10 nights to keep that twilight.
You're right. Now, the hospital. Tranquility.
Right.
Great sound cut.
Hello?
Hello.
It's also nice that she's in a modern place. Well, they're creeping around all these old...
Well, now he's in a hotel.
But she's in a kind of spick-and-span, sterile place where it seems like that world couldn't intrude, really. But
and safe.
Yeah,
She's safe there.
Yeah.
Do just what I say. I want you to leave London right now.
What do you mean, leave London, darling? I don't understand.
I've put through a call to the embassy. Tom Portman will meet you at the hospital and bring you here to Rome.
Robert, what's happened? What's wrong?
Please, darling, just do it. Get ready to leave.
Oh, Robert,
It's nice how the physical separation is going to undo him.
Yeah, if he could be there now, she would have lived.
Yeah, yeah.
Try to be ready by the time he gets here.
So in going away, you kind of... He seals her fate, really, by going away.
Well, you know something's going to happen. When that door opens, when she gets this thing, nightgown over her head.
Right.
And we see through it.
Right. What's also nice is in a different movie, you'd have a kind of comedy field day here with someone in this kind of partial body cast,
trying to do something.
trying to get changed.
But here you feel...
But here it's like, oh my, you feel the vulnerability and...
Very carefully done so that she just has the nightgown over her head. So when she turns for the point of view...
Is that you?
Yeah, it makes it scarier.
Yeah.
It makes it scarier that she's got that thing over... And, seeing her like that, through that.
Yeah. Oh, and God, that's so many years ago.
Yeah. And even the white, and then cutting over to the other side where she's all in black.
There's a great stunt man. Alf Parrott did this. We embarrassed the life out of him. He had to be in a nightgown. Done in 2 cuts.
Yep.
Good piece. The next scene, when David Warner comes in, was our big fight, because Peck gets the news now. And so, for the next scene, he had gotten a hold of the prop man and said, I want 3 breakaway lamps, I want breakaway ashtrays, So the prop man came to me and said, what? So I got a hold of Peck, and I said, why do you want those things? He said, because I'm going to live with the fact that she's dead, and I want to destroy everything for her. I said, I'd like to come in after you've exhausted yourself. He said, no, I got to express it. I said, no, you got to. And we had this sterile thing we had to shut down. And then finally he called me, he said, I'll do your way.
Right.
So I rehearsed this move with the cameraman and assistants, because there was a focus move all the way in, and I said, it's got to be perfect. Got to be perfect. Now I know she's dead.
Following him down.
No. It's coming up, scene coming up with David Warner. It would be after this that he would have destroyed everything in sight.
Okay.
And then David Warner would have come in, and he'd be destroying it now.
Right.
And David would be frozen. What's going on? I'm trying to stop him. Instead, I made him do this. And we did it in 1. At the end of the take, he wanted to do another one. I said, no, it's as good as it's going to get. And he walked out. This shot right here. Next day he came to Daly's, and he stood up at Daly's, and he said, Mr. Donner, you were right. It couldn't have been done better. And he walked out of the room.
Right.
And that was his way of saying thank you.
Yeah, no, that's nice.
But we practiced this dolly shot. Tiny focus pull all the way.
Right.
From the word Armageddon. The end of the world.
Yeah, this is not the shot. You don't want to do this take and have the camera department tell you that the focus is no good on it.
Oh, my God. I was going berserk. Because I did it in 1. He wanted to do it again. I can do it better. I said, no, you can't.
Yeah.
He was an exorcist. I read about him.
And he remembers the name here. It's all kind of the clarity of it.
It's all him. Kathy is dead.
And a comet fills the sky. The Holy Roman Empire rises.
He's gone now.
Yeah.
And you and I must die.
He has to follow it through now for different reasons than it started out.
I don't think he realizes, that it's anything but anymore. I mean, Greg and I felt at this point he had lost control.
Right.
He had much crossed the line.
Right.
Because he could not believe this was true.
Right.
But he is believing it. I'm going to kill the child.
Kathy is dead. I want Damien to die, too.
I mean, how do you get Gregory Peck to say that?
Yeah. Now, this is
in Israel.
Israel, yeah.
It's funny, I went down below in the dig with them, and they gave me a piece of Philistine glass.
Right.
Which was the first glass, practically.
Oh, I was going to say, what a mess. Someone's got to clean this place up.
It's Bugenhagen's dig.
Yeah. How many days did you shoot there? Just a few days?
I think it's 1 day.
Yeah.
We did this, and then we did Peck when he throws the knives. That was there.
Right.
But when he picks them up, we're on the studio.
Right.
Hello, Mr. Thor. I am Bugenhagen. What is this place?
It's nice to hear this over the image.
It kind of made the marriage between the 2 cuts.
Yeah.
It's also trying to take the onus off some diatribe.
Yeah. Now this is
a set.
This is a set. Okay.
This is Leo McKern. He also played that wonderful series, The Barrister.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Rumpel
Rumpel the Bailey.
Yeah.
He was just a great actor and a great man. I'll tell you another funny scene here. Peck had a hard time with this scene, and he had a hard time with Bugenhagen, the character.
Right.
And he said, when they have this scene, this eye-to-eye scene, he said, I can't do this. He said, I'm not going to believe this. I said, I tell you what you do. For me, you just hold his eyes and do what he does, and you'll be where he is, and the audience will believe it.
Right.
What he didn't know is that Leo had a glass eye.
Right.
And he never had a blink.
Right.
And Peck did everything in his power not to blink. In so doing, his eyes dried.
Right.
And it brought tears to them.
Right.
And when it was all over and we moved, and I told him that Leo had a glass eye, he actually hit me.
Right.
Not just what I used. But it worked.
Right. Right.
I didn't know what do you tell him? I can't tell him you got to believe
it's
this.
The adult version of telling Jackie Cooper that his dog died.
Yeah. Yeah.
It must be done on hallowed ground. A church.
We're up above here again, see? There's a thematic going on.
Yeah, there is. Years ago, I did a television series with Edmund O'Brien. It's about Jake Ehrlich, the great lawyer in San Francisco.
Right.
And one of the scenes I shot was a straight-down scene of them getting out of the car in San Francisco, and I shot the whole scene where they came out of the car, and he meets these three people, and he goes into the building, and when the producer, Bill Frug, who became a great friend of mine, a great fan, saw the dailies, he said, "What the hell is that?" He said, "Whose point of view is that?"
Right.
I said, "It's mine."
Right.
He said, "Okay, go." As long as he got an answer.
Yeah.
Make no mistake.
Here's the knives.
See, these are props. If you should have kept them because you could put them on eBay now.
I know. There's so much I should have kept. Could have retired.
He bears a birthmark. A sequence of sixes.
What I always love about movie making is you got a scene in the script that says 7 ceremonial knives. And then the production design department, art department goes off and has to come up with these knives and research what did knives look like 2,000 years ago and what would they look like and what would they be. There's sort of the resources involved and the research that you don't even think of that
What's
much
going on?
As a director.
Right.
You don't have time to. But the man hours that are going into all these little moments
All the
are
departments.
So crazy.
Well, that's why you hire the best.
Yeah.
They make you look good. You're right. All those man hours
Some
are going
guy-
to every little, even the production design of this, the pillars, the walls, everything.
Where they've hung those those practical lights.
Here we are. This is in Jerusalem.
Robert, I want to know what he said. Look, I'm not just some bystander. I was the one that found him.
I'm the one that's supposed to kill him. These are knives.
It's also, this is not what he was expecting on this visit.
Yeah. Well, he knows he has to kill the child, or he thinks, but he can't. Now the sanity's coming back to him.
But also, he says, I want him,
Dead.
I think he says, I want Damien. I don't think he quite thinks he has to do it.
No.
I won't do it.
That was an incredible throw because it went from there to London. Which is right there.
Right.
Now, this was amazing because we had planned this. This was written as a glass at a construction site coming down from a top floor window.
Right.
But we couldn't do it. It kept leafing and going off in different... We tried everything for weeks with glass. Last minute, John Richardson came up with this. And if you'll notice, there's no blood. But it hits a bottle of wine right there. And that gives you the feeling of...
that it's blood.
Yeah.
That's great. And it's nice that we don't see we see that reflection there.
Yeah.
Now, it's just too much now.
Insane.
It's too much.
Insane.
In what you're talking about, this is the moment where is this really even happening, or am I losing
beyond.
it? Or
Now, that airplane. Again, these instances. We rented that airplane, not to fly. That was a stock shot.
Right.
But to use it on the ground for the scene inside. We had no money. They called us one day about a day before we were ready to shoot and said, if you'll shoot this a day later, we'll give it to you 50% less because we were just offered a charter.
Right.
We said yes. They took the charter. The day, and I have all the newspapers, that plane took off, hit a flock of birds, crashed into a car, killing the wife and children of the pilot.
Right.
That was flying that airplane.
Wow.
I mean, okay. So everybody said,
right.
It's the omen. I said, it's circumstantial.
Right.
And I mean, the newspapers had helped the movie, I'll tell you that.
It also, being on that plane very subtly again shows you this world.
Trying to connect the two?
And no, the world of what he's going to inherit, this power and world. Gregory Peck's not flying around on Eastern Airlines flight. He's up in his private plane.
Now this is that scene where you don't...
Again, he's a stranger in his own house now. He's outside of things.
There was an argument with Stuart and I about that shot, whether we have the dog in, because it's going to scare the hell out of the audience, or we don't have him in and just hear him.
Right.
And I lost. And I still don't know whether it's right or not. But here, if you see here, you'll see. Right there.
Right. You could put out a whole other edition of the film without that shot.
Yeah. I wanted to start right here.
And again, this house has all these great angles with the stairways and ceilings.
And in the DVD, they're going to have an additional ending that I had shot.
It's an ending later.
Continued on, yeah. Continued on. One of those things that you keep shooting, but then when you cut it together, you say enough's enough.
Yeah.
Listen to the music, the sounding. This is Jerry Goldsmith at his best. It was just voices.
Right.
Of the sound of the dog.
There they are.
There it is.
Yeah.
Traps him down that, as you said, what, root cellar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. It's my greatest joy in this movie was sitting in the front row of the theater.
Right.
At moments like this, or the decapitation, and kind of sneaking and turn around and watching the audience.
Right. Well, it's funny because when I actually, like we said, I watched this movie this morning so I could refresh myself. And my wife walked in while I was watching it right around in here somewhere. And she took one look at the screen. She thought, I know, I can't stand this. And she walked back out again because she immediately was, she just did not want to be in a haunted house at that moment. But it was so, just seeing a few frames of it so brought back to her the way she felt when she first saw it.
You know why the scissors? Audience, I mean, but why?
Yeah.
Why the scissors?
Yeah.
Things that you
it's a
set.
mystery, yeah, because he's not being threatened right now,
No,
so he doesn't
mystique.
need a, yeah. It's like moment where he has to finally learn the truth. Face up to what he finds.
And the recutting of the sequence of David's decapitation. It's usually show the banana, slip on it, 1, 2, 3.
Right.
And the audience was scared, but when we did it 1, 2, 3, and the head was still rolling, because you usually cover your eyes for the first two.
Right.
And it came back and it was still rolling.
Right.
Just amazing.
So people who think they've avoided seeing it,
and now they come back and it's right in their eyes.
Right.
Right in their face. This scene for him is literally the snapping of the brain.
Right.
Because what he's about to do, if it's wrong, then there's salvation in his life.
Right.
If it's right, which it cannot be, it's going to take him over the edge.
Right.
And so he really had, what's Gregory Peck?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, it's what you think is one of the great images of peace, a sleeping child.
Yeah, tranquility and peace.
And it's turned inside out, really. Is this shot slowed down a little bit?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you can see it, actually.
Make it a little more ominous.
Well, no, because it went too fast.
I see, yeah.
And I had not shot it at speed.
Right.
But we optically added frames.
Well, what's great is you've taken someone getting some hair snipped off their head and turned it into a scary,
terrible,
tense,
but also
moment.
Also sound-wise,
yes,
the snips, but very quiet,
stark,
because what's about to happen.
Yeah, and then the music creeps in there a little bit.
The flash of the scissors, that wasn't easy.
Yeah.
"666."
It's not good.
Light on his face from a lamp?
Yeah.
Watch.
He's got some beard growth. He hasn't slept in a couple of days.
The audience screamed.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen to Goldsmith music here. It's insane music.
Yeah.
Man with a golden arm moments. The
You got a
dog
little-
trapped below.
The lights formed a kind of cross back there. It's
Stocking.
Good.
We did stockings on all the lighting here.
Yeah. What's nice is the kid kind of never declares. Even though I notice he's in red pajamas, he's a little devil. So, but he's not helping his dad, you know that much, but he's not helping her either.
Well, he's a child.
Yeah.
If you played it, you wanted this is an insane woman who believes some stupid message from a novel, one of the great novels ever written, and she's a believer of it, but the child is certainly not at this time.
Yeah.
Bang.
And that's a nice bit of business that you believe. You believe he grabs that light and shocks them.
Oh. Now when he goes to
so
get
that
up.
you're not supernatural yet with him. You know, you're not ever really with the kid.
And now you're kind of settled down for a moment, too, here. The fall, the lighting, everything was changed until...
And what I like here is it's not his kid anymore. He's just dragging him.
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing. He's got a thing on his hands.
The only blood. Blood on the icebox.
Yeah, it's good with everything just sort of being what you'd believe would happen or could happen.
He really had a hard time doing this scene.
Yeah, yeah.
The idea of killing somebody.
Did they have to rehearse much for this? Or
No.
You just kind of did it.
No, you did it. You
got the camera in there.
When it worked, you had it. When it didn't, you didn't. And
yeah. Yeah, it's great with the dog down there to cut to.
Now, the scene continued here. I got him in the car. He gets the kid in, and all of a sudden, I think she appears again.
Right.
And then the dog appears, and he kills the dog through the windshield, and it came through. It did a whole...
Right.
It just went on and on and on. I said, no, enough's enough.
Right. That's why we don't have a dirty
windscreen.
Yeah.
You're right. With new windscreens on.
Panda 4 to control.
MP to Panda 4, come in, please.
Panda 4 in pursuit. American ambassador. White estate car.
And what's nice is where he's been trying to get out of the real world to wrap his mind around this. The real world is going to undo him in a way.
Well, in a strange way, save him. By killing him, it saves him. That's Alf Joint, the great stunt coordinator who went out the window.
Oh, right.
Panda 4 in pursuit White Estate Park, north of Seven Hills Road. Possible diplomatic incident.
And then when he fires the gun in this and you see the bullet, I mean, this is way before any effects or anything.
Right.
We found this little company out in Oxford that had a high-speed whip camera that only did that.
Right.
And fired the bullet. We shot a real gun. We had a special police there. But it would burn the actor's hand so badly.
Right.
We had to put gloves on them.
Right.
And then we had to redo the little piece. Just what you did in those days was real, and it was great. I loved it.
And it's like it's a math problem. Everyone's trying to figure out how to solve it. You know, how do we get the shot?
And make it work.
Yeah.
The actors are part of it.
Even the effects department, they're all trying to
This is back to
figure
that
out how to do
redundant
it.
church.
Right.
Yeah, every department. Superman was the same thing. I mean, just sitting around trying to dream up how do you make a man fly, and how do you do this, and how do you do that. And it was wonderful.
There's those great,
now you say make him fly.
There's those great moments where someone from effects has figured out something, and they bring you down and show you, and you realize
and they're so proud.
It's got a shot at working, you know.
Kid was a real toughie.
Yeah.
But we had to keep him from laughing here. This was tough on Peck. Just lost his son, don't forget.
Yeah.
No, Daddy, no!
God, help me. Please! Stop! Stop or I'll fire!
That shot. Yeah. That's a real bullet. Alf's hand was...
away. Yeah.
The heat was so intense from the light.
It's funny when you
go that's what you go out on.
When you go to Daly's the next day and you see that, because you don't know what you got. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is in England also?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's at a memorial cemetery for military.
But you just buy it as DC someplace.
Oh, the Marines.
Yeah.
The American flag of the Marines. That's all you need.
Ready, aim, fire! Ready, aim, fire!
It's all the extras we could afford.
It's funny because it's almost all on the backs. It's the backs of the Marines. It's the backs of the people. The fronts of those guys.
This one who plays the priest also played the owner of the diner in Superman when Superman becomes a human and gets beaten up.
Right.
The English-American crowd. This was a half a day. Alan Ladd Jr. saw the picture. There would have been a third coffin in it, and that was the little boy's. And he saw it. He said, Dick, he said, let me ask you one thing. I said, what? He said, can you keep the kid alive? I said, oh, my God. I said, I don't have the money. I need a half a day. He said, you got it. And we went back and reshot this end. Because originally we shot this whole little sequence.
Right.
And the child was dead.
Right.
And instead, because of Alan's question about changing the ending, this is what we put in.
Right.
Now, I shot this on the back lawn of Shepperton.
Right.
And I loved this little kid, and he loved me. And right now, I'm shooting it, and I'm looking through the finder, and I'm saying, don't you dare smile. No, don't you smile. Don't you smile,
Right.
Harvey. and when everybody saw it, they said, you can't have the kid smile. I
Right.
said, yes, you can, because he's saying, is this real?
Right.
You know, what's the reality of all this?
Right.
It was like trying to do what Antonioni did in Blow Up.
Right.
Was there a tennis ball in the scene?
Right.
I mean, I was stealing something. Anyway,
Right.
That's the movie.
But it's.
You're good at this. I'm glad you saw it this morning. Wish you'd told me. Great cast.
But,
great people.
yeah, it's nice. And I always think a film, it's so hard to enjoy it yourself because you know everything that's going to happen and you've seen in the editing room every scene 900 times by the time you're done. And in a way, it becomes a photo album for the
Robert
filmmakers.
Munger, whoever you done. We had religious consultants in this picture who believed it. I said, come on, guys, you're basing everything on a novel.
Right.
And we had terrible arguments.
Right.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, no, but now I was just going to say, it's when you've made the film and you watch it again, it becomes a kind of photo album of your life back then. You know, you remember where you were having dinner and where you were staying, you know. So it's really nice for the
Judy
filmmaker.
Friesen. That's funny. When she was there, the IRA was acting up.
Right.
And Judy lived in 2 different places. She had just been divorced from Gil, my best friend. And she was an assistant to me. And in 2 different places, people were blown up in front of her.
Right.
So we banned her.
That was an omen in itself, I guess.
Oh, that's good. Good way to go out. That was an omen.
All right, Dick, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Brian. Wow. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you.